So tonight, John, is the father-daughter dance at my daughter's school, which will be very, very interesting. This is the fifth year in a row that we've done it. I'm not really looking forward to it.
Why?
Well, I love my father-daughter dates. I love going out with my daughter, and we have a blast doing it. But this is a school event. And we go, and every single year, all it is are all the girls in their group with their friends. I feel like going back to middle school where all the boys were on one side of the gym and all the girls were on the other.
So but it's like cliquey.
No, it's not cliquey. The girls are all one clique because they're all, in their grades and they're all of their friends, and they go and they just run around. Sure. While the dads just kind of sit around the edges of the gym watching them run around in circles, and we just sit there and chat. But the worst part of it is there's no alcohol. So we have no way to just kind of sit there and relax. It's that uncomfortable. I see some of these guys twice a year at these sort of events. And I just never really enjoy it. I hate to say that because it's a really neat thing to do, but that's the best way I can describe it.
Do you ever spike the punch or no?
There isn't any punch usually. It's bottled water.
Well, that's half the
and lots. Oh, and that's the other part. They have a buffet there, but it's all candy. And we try to keep Peyton away from candy, but no, this is just a full load of candy.
When you told me that before, I thought candy was one of the mothers.
Yeah, well, no, because remember it's father-daughter, not mother-daughter.
Well, don't the mothers even serve the candy and stuff?
No. I think there may be one or two.
There are no grown-up women there at all.
The principal's for the elementary, because this is all elementary school. The principal's there.
Okay.
And it's her husband that I hang out with most of the time.
Well, that's good. Well, it seems like he could pull some strings and get some liquor. You guys could have some martinis or something.
You'd think, but no. Yeah, doesn't work that way.
So is it fair to say then the dad, since you're kind of sitting off in the corner, you're like the daddy Wallflowers?
Yes, exactly. The Wallflowers, a great band from the 90s.
They are. You know what? Were actually a great band, but yes. So do you remember?
Aren't they still together? I think.
Really? Because they're all dead, or half of them are dead.
The Wallflowers?
Yes.
They're not all dead.
Oh, aren't they?
No.
Okay.
What are you thinking of?
Are they sick?
No. Not that I know of.
No, I was thinking of the Wilburys. They're all dead.
Okay. I don't know who they are. So yeah, they're probably dead. They're dead to me.
Well, that's not fair. So that was Tom Petty. Yeah, the Wilburys. Yep. Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, both dead. Who was the Beatle? George Harrison, dead.
Right.
And I think it was who was the other guy? Was it? Shoot. I can't think who the other guy was. There was another guy.
If you want to look it up. So the Wallflowers, they started in 1989 with Jacob Dylan as the lead singer and Toby Miller as the guitarist. And they are still around. There's a picture on their Wikipedia page of performing in Minnesota in 2014. But it says years active. They're still active.
Huh.
Labels, Columbia, Interscope, Virgin.
That's awesome. So they're all alive. Yes, I was confusing them with the Wilburys. The traveling Wilburys. Jeff Lynne. So he was in. Oh gosh, he was in. Do you remember? It's at the tip of my tongue. Oh, Bob Dylan too. I forgot about Bob Dylan being in there. But Jeff Lynne was
also
in.
Most people don't know that. Also a Minnesotan. Most people don't know that.
That's because whomever is from Minnesota, they very seldom admit it.
That's true. Very true.
Okay, now I have to see. Gosh, I hate it when my mind just goes away.
Oh, my mind is always like that.
Crazy, because I know what the answer to this is. I just can't make my face say it right now. It was
your face
ELO.
say it.
Of course, it was ELO.
I don't know who that is or what that
Electric
is.
Light Orchestra. Come on.
Oh, okay. It's all this. We're in the car business. We have too many acronyms as it is. Why throw
We do
something
have
like
too many acronyms and too few brain cells.
that? Way too few. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, present company excluded, of course.
Oh no, my brain cells are shot.
I know that. I was just saying that to try to be nice.
Well, it's very nice of you. But really quick, to get back to the father-daughter dance, here's the other thing that's kind of making me not excited for it tonight is Thursday and Friday. So yesterday and the day before, the school canceled school so that my daughter has been home for the last 2 days.
Oh no.
Due to illness. Now she's not sick.
Not hers, yeah.
No, but there's so many people at the school that are ill that they decided to cancel school for a couple of days. And we're not the only school in Nashville to be like that.
You know what? I heard a friend said the same thing, that their school was just a wreck. And yeah, I get, if they're closing school, I hope they're disinfecting the entire place.
Exactly. So I'm nervous about that. I'm always nervous about going places and getting sick anyways.
Wear a mask.
I should. I don't want the
coronavirus.
Face
on it with a mustache or something.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
See?
Yeah.
I know.
It would work very well.
Well,
Or
the other
because
flip
it's a
side is
Christian school, I should put a Jesus beard on.
Should.
Mhm.
You could, if you wear and they don't have liquor there. Weird.
Right. Well, it's a Church of Christ school. Used to be.
Okay. I guess
I still have some holdovers.
What do you mean it used to be?
Well, it started as you started as a Church of Christ school, but now they're non-denominational.
Oh,
but it's still a Christian school.
Well, yeah.
But a lot of the people that still work there are still Church of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of frown on the whole liquor thing in that.
Well,
where I come from, the private schools, it was perfectly normal to have liquor everywhere. Good old Catholic schools.
Father-daughter dance. That's awesome. Yeah. Hey, honey, you're gonna have to take the wheel.
That's right.
Wow.
But the nice thing is, which is not really a nice thing, and I'm interested to get your opinion on this. The reason they have this father-daughter dance every year in February, and this will be airing on Tuesday. Saturday now, it'll be airing on Tuesday. But John, what is Friday? I know it's your favorite holiday.
Friday. Oh, was it Groundhog's Day? No,
that was come and gone. We're gonna have an early spring.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Right. Why do you say that's my favorite?
I don't know. It's
an invented holiday for us to buy crap for women.
Well, I see, and my wife, thank God she's on board with this, because this is something I absolutely love about her. I am in the mindset, I love to buy presents for people. I love to buy presents for my wife, for my daughter, except for on days that you're required to buy presents.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I hate that.
Yep.
Hate it. So
I agree.
But Friday's going to be Valentine's Day. So we got the father-daughter dance. We've got Valentine's Day.
So are you going to do, I mean, so hate buying when you're forced to, are you still going to do it to like CYA?
I already did, technically. So we went out last weekend actually and went shopping over Super Bowl. We talked about going shopping.
Yeah, right.
That was a little bit of a mini shopping spree for my wife for Valentine's Day. That was her
Valentine's
Day.
Nice. Okay. Well, I mean, at least you aligned it and you're ahead of the game, which is better because then it doesn't look like you forgot.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. You're brilliant.
I try. So do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
Let's say yes, I have a really big surprise for Lisa.
Okay. Is that just because she's listening, and then just in case you'll go out and buy something really big right now?
This is actually like proof, so people could play it back and say, see, he said he was going to, so he knew.
Oh, okay.
It's not like he forgot.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what? And I'm much like you, and I've said that before when we were younger in our marriage, that it just seems a little bit ridiculous, especially when it's not really celebrating anything except love. Let's have a holiday just for love, because the rest
Isn't
of
that you're supposed to be your anniversary?
Huh?
Isn't that supposed to be your anniversary? The day you celebrate because of love?
Well, no, you can't now, because there can't be 2 days for love. The other 364 days, you have to be crap. And then it's just love one day.
What's your point?
On Valentine's Day.
I love you twice a year. Get over it.
Wow. Yeah. But the good news is tonight's the night.
That's right.
Wow.
You know what I think it is too, why I don't like it so much and why I don't think my wife likes it very much either is because both of us have at one point in our life worked in the service industry.
Oh,
She was a waitress, I was a bartender,
yep.
and I also was a host at one of the restaurants I worked at. And Valentine's Day was the worst day of the entire year to work. I hated it. Hated it. Worst.
So
Never got good tips.
oh,
Always, and you just worked your butt off.
oh my
You
gosh.
were
Okay,
always
so
busy.
the only days, and it's more than one probably, that I disliked more than, like a Valentine's Day, or let's just say any planned holiday. I remember on President's Day, man, we were booked. No,
I
just
bet you
kidding.
were. That was
Uh,
at the Capitol Grill, right?
yes, right. Nicely done. But you know for a fact that these people don't go out that often. The worst for me was class reunions as a bartender, because you would get people, and they're kind of shy at first, haven't seen each other for 10 years or whatever it is. And so they have a couple of courage cocktails and then they go to dinner. They have dinner at the same restaurant typically, and then they come back. It's everybody leaves the bar. And so I ran like a specialized bar that was kind of for those types of events. But as soon as they go, they have their dinner, and it's the calm before the storm. I mean, there's nobody at the bar, and they're coming back. And when they did, they were just ridiculous and nasty and drunk. And yeah, I had a guy who actually was throwing peanuts at me. And
Nice.
yeah, well, I
Was he
warned him.
making you dance while you did it?
He's the
Dance,
only
bartender,
guy.
dance. Whooshing.
He's the only guy I've ever physically thrown out of the bar. I actually climbed over the bar, grabbed him by the belt and the collar, and flung him into the street.
Nice.
Only time I ever did that.
So
And he
when you,
has turned out being a dick to other people too. So they
oh
sort
really?
of
No one
applauded.
cared. So when
Yeah.
you were a bartender, did you go to any bartending school or did you just start bartending and learn from whatever job you had?
I actually, I learned on the job, and it was the
Okay.
guy. Back then, I don't remember, Nick, if we had to take, uh, if we had to do a test for the state. I think not back then.
Okay. You
Because there
do
was
now because that,
well, and eventually I did, but there was a license. There had to be a licensed bartender in your bar with you.
okay.
Anyway, so I eventually did, but the guy I learned from was just a classic bartender and was just really brilliant and great with people. And so, yeah, I
That's
give
awesome.
lots of credit,
So
my buddy.
I actually still have my license. I did do a school so I could get a license because I was working in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and you had to have one in Wisconsin. You didn't have to have one in Minnesota, but because I was going back and forth, it was just safer. So I did go to school, and one of the things they taught us to get rid of them, because bartenders are not bouncers. Usually, you have your own security, right? But if you needed to get rid of someone really quick, did you ever learn how to make a cement mixer?
Yes, I did.
Explain to the world what a cement
I
mixer is.
to.
Do
I
what?
gave so many people cement mixers.
Did you really?
Oh,
I only
man.
gave one out. I only ever gave one out. But
Oh,
tell
they're
everyone,
great.
tell our listeners what that is.
Well, it's so it's essentially curdling milk, and so we used Bailey's Irish Cream and what was the and Ding Ding for Bailey's and
Lime juice.
Rose's lime juice, and
Yep.
so and it tasted fine going down, but then if they shook their heads at all, it turned into instant cottage cheese.
Yeah, so we were taught to make it a game, and we would tell them, okay, you put the Baileys in your mouth first, then you put the lime juice, and then you grab their heads, and you make sure they're okay with it.
Shook it. Yeah,
and
maybe
shook it. Yep.
Maybe that's
Yep.
what we did. It's been so long, my gosh. But
Yeah, it
it's
was
awesome. And then
it
get
works.
a mouthful of cottage cheese, so they're not going to
Yep.
smile at any women. They have to leave.
Exactly. Or it makes them puke if they're really drunk.
Which is also delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to something you had said earlier, because you were a bartender for class reunions and things like that.
Yep.
So I have never attended one of my class reunions
You're
for high
kidding.
school. No, I haven't. And it's been over 20 years now. So we just recently had a 20-year anniversary, I guess. And a class reunion rather. But our class reunion, so we had a graduating class of about 700 people. So
That's what I was
when
gonna
they
ask.
do have them, they're very small. Only about 30 people, I guess, show up because I have friends
Oh,
that go.
really?
Yeah. And excuse me. So when they plan those, not a lot of people go, but I think one of the reasons not a lot of people go anymore is because of social media. And we are scattered. If you saw my friends list from people I went to high school with, we're scattered all over the world. So it's
Sure.
not like it's easy for all of us to get back for one of these. But a lot of what goes on, how we learn about what's happening with people and stuff like that, all happens on Facebook. There is
Hmm.
actually a class of 97, which is when I graduated, a class of 97 page. And we also have a Anoka High School alumni page, which is all of the alumni or alumnus from Anoka High School throughout the years, anyone that's on Facebook. So we get a lot of information from that. So there really isn't a reason for us to meet up all the time.
Hmm.
Is that the same for you, or do you see a lot of similar things happening? Or are you a fan of reunions?
Well, okay, so we're you and I are polar opposites when it comes to the number of people in our class because you obviously went to a huge high school. I had 38 people in my graduating class.
Nice.
Yeah, it's little Monticello, Wisconsin is a small town. When you plug in the toaster, the street lights dim. And
Interesting.
so so it's pretty tiny, but, so we would go and we'd have them. Heck, our 5-year reunion, almost everybody came, and then 10 years and then it kinda dwindles, and so now we're well, I won't say well, it doesn't matter, we just had our 40 year
Wow.
class reunion. I know, how old am I? And, but I was held back a couple years, so, um, I wasn't,
You
just
mean
kidding.
you move forward a couple years?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, back, I'm really 70. So, but nobody really shows up. So this year we just decided we'll get together in a bar and throw back a couple of drinks. And it was actually kind of fun. We had people who showed up that, normally didn't. A lot of the townies, from the town where we grew up would never come. So anyway, it was kind of fun to see some
That's
people that
neat.
you don't see very often. But
I
everybody pretty well because it's such a small class.
Yeah, and so did we talk about I don't remember, and forgive me, listeners, if we did talk about it before, but I was just thinking about it while we were talking about this. The last reunion I got invited to wasn't actually my own reunion technically. So I went to two different schools. I went to a school in a smaller town in Minnesota when I was until I was about 14, I think, 14 or
Okay.
15. And then I went to the big high school in a different part of the state. But I got invited to a reunion for the other school, which all of them went through high school together. And it was I was living in Atlanta at the time, and obviously couldn't get up there for it. But the person that invited me actually recently passed away.
Oh, no.
And when I'm saying recently, it was when we were in Texas for
Hmm.
our meeting.
Yeah.
And it just brought back memories because she was one of my really, really, really close friends and 41 years old, and she died in her sleep.
Oh, sad.
It's very sad, but it's very scary because she's not that old, or at least I don't see her. The younger listeners might think that's old, but for us that are that age or older, that's not old,
Yeah.
especially for someone to just die in their sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
It was crazy.
Although if you
But
gotta choose a way to go, that's not a
oh,
bad way.
absolutely. No, that's not a bad way at all. But
Yeah.
on the same token, so what I was saying, I'm going to contradict myself. How we do it, the fact that I haven't seen this person in over 20 years is that it kind of hit me a little bit harder because the opportunity. Her family, they're very close to my family, and her mom was actually at my mom's funeral 10 years ago, so I got to see her. But
Sure.
it's you lose touch with people that you're very close to
Yep.
because of that, where you have the opportunity to actually see them if you go to a reunion. So that's just
You know
sorry,
so you know what
that's where my brain went.
you know what I'm going to do? That's okay. Um I'm going to write down one of the guys I went to high school with, and, um, and I'm gonna call him when we're done because I'm gonna set him up for lunch. We had lunch, after I was diagnosed with cancer, and he reached out, and it was just very nice, something he wouldn't have had to do. And hey, let's get together for lunch, and he actually set it up, and we had a great time. And good catching up and all that. And I need to call them and return the invite.
It's something that's something I'm really, really bad at. I don't know about you, but I'm horrible about keeping up. I have great friends. I have a lot of really great friends,
Yep. Me too.
but I just I just don't reach out enough and I don't communicate with them. Now, granted that, the phone works both ways. So those of you who are listening, you can call me too. But it is kind of again, that's where I think social media is a good thing and a bad thing. It's
Yep.
good because we can still keep up with people. You can still see what's happening in their lives. You can watch their children grow. But because we see that, we have no incentive to actually reach out to them and call and say,
Well,
"Hey, just want to check in and
yeah.
see how you're doing."
Well, I agree. Although I'm not sure that social media and in particular like Facebook that where you have more of the relational stuff. I mean, you can see pictures of them and their families and stuff like that. Uh, I think it makes you feel more comfortable with that. And I'll give you an example. I was in my hometown just the other day and met a friend who runs the grocery store in town. Her parents have run it for years. But I went in with my mom and we were picking up a few things and stopped and saw her and hugged her and just it had been a few months. I think I saw her at the reunion, but just a real comfortable thing. But a lot of it comes from having connected again on social media at some point. But you're right about that. It's all on how you use social media because it's hey, look, I've unfriended and hidden so many people, not unfriended, but hidden so many people because of political posts and just how they're just hammering at stuff and I don't need that. I really don't need. I like to wish people happy birthday and maybe catch up on a couple things, then get the heck out.
Yeah.
And and that's maybe just me, but I don't need to live my life on social media. I don't
Well,
want
and
to.
I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying that the information is so accessible that it doesn't make calling someone feel as urgent
That's a
because,
good
oh,
point.
yeah, I can see they're doing okay.
Yep.
I can
They
see
don't
that.
need me.
Exactly. They don't need me. They
They're
don't need me in
obviously
their
doing fine
life.
without me.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I what I actually liked was before our last class reunion, before I saw everybody, it was nice to be able to kind of catch up and check. Oh, I guess stalk them before the reunion, so I could ask relevant questions rather than so what have you been doing since high school? 40 years ago. So stupid. Anyway, that's the value to me of social media, and not a lot beyond that.
No, it doesn't really have much value beyond that.
Well,
And
that's what
coming
we
from
would
people
say.
that work in the industry that we hawk it all day long.
That's for sure. Hey, and the other thing, and just to give you an excuse because you sorely need it, the as much as we travel and stuff, it's tough to fit that time in. It's not like I know I'd love to see them, but I'm too busy for them. It's not like we consciously make that decision. It's just life gets in the way, and
Yeah.
if you let it, then it's even worse. But yeah, I think you got to take those chances when you think about it. That stuff doesn't happen accidentally. It's a reason to, give somebody a holler and see what's up.
Right. Yeah.
Or
You're
you can
absolutely
catch
right.
up with them at the father-daughter dance.
Exactly. Well, that's a whole other conversation about having close friends and stuff like that. I don't really in Nashville, I don't really have that many really close friends
Sure.
that I can just call up or that I don't miss calling, or do miss calling, whatever that means. So yeah, I'm talking most of the friends that I have that are close enough that it's one of those because you have your best friends that you could not see them for 20 years, get in the same room, and it's like you saw them yesterday, right?
And I
I've
really and that to me, I've said that for years, that really is a measure of a good friend. It's not like you didn't miss them or whatever, but that's not really the point of it. When you see them again, it's like you were never apart, as you said.
exactly, and I have a lot, but most of them are scattered everywhere. One of them's in Australia; he's the furthest away. I've got others that are in St. Louis, some in Minnesota, some in Alaska. They're all over the place. None in Nashville. You guys should move to Nashville. Putting that out there.
Yeah, I guess it depends where he is in Australia. If you know what, I liked Melbourne, or Mebane as they call it.
Melbourne,
Uh,
Melbourne,
what a
yeah, whatever.
beautiful city, really cool. I mean, there are many
Melbourne.
beautiful cities there, but Mebane, yeah,
Mebane. Yeah, I don't remember. I know he's near Sydney, but he just moved away from Sydney.
Sydney is
but
also
I don't
beautiful.
think
Really
he
cool.
went far. Like he's an hour outside of Sydney, or maybe 2 hours, something like that.
So when I got there, and I'm not moving into an Australia chat, but this when I was there, I was a little bit concerned about driving on the left side of the road.
Yeah.
So I hired a guy to just give me a tour of the city, like an inside tour, and
oh, nice.
And he was great. The guy was, I mean, not only fun to hang around with, but he had, oh gosh, I think he had a big Mercedes that he just cruised around in. And I said, just take me to the cool places. I don't need to see the touristy things. Just take me. And we did a couple, saw the Opera House and the Harbor Bridge and those things. But he took me to some backwards bar that he used to hang out. And he's like, as I need, protection, obviously, but he's hanging with me wearing a suit.
Nice.
And just keeping an eye on things to make sure everything is cool. But it was
your own Secret Service.
A couple $100. It was well worth it.
That's funny. Yeah, I've never been to Australia. I want to really bad. I want to go see TJ. And believe it or not, TJ was our very first listener.
You're kidding. That's awesome.
I'm not kidding. Well, yeah, I even showed it on the stats for our very first episode. Very first listener was from Australia, and it was TJ.
That's awesome, TJ. Yeah. Okay, so you're assuming it's TJ.
No, I know it's TJ because I told him, hey, I'm launching this podcast. It goes up tomorrow, which is today for you.
That's awesome. Yeah, right. So tell me how I did yesterday.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, yes, I think we owe it to him to probably go visit.
We should do a show there. I do. So we had discussed at one point interviewing him, and he wants to. We just have to put some time together. It's a little bit more difficult if we call him on a Saturday morning. That's Saturday morning here. It's already Sunday afternoon? No,
sure,
15. It's like in the middle of the night between Saturday and Sunday there. So it's a little bit more difficult.
So I have to ask you.
Yeah,
I have to ask you this. You've obviously spoken with TJ, or maybe not obviously. If you've spoken to him since he's been there, has he picked up the Aussie accent?
No, he has not. Okay. There were a couple of little things that he said, and it wasn't this, but it's how they call the trunk a boot.
Yeah.
So little things like that he was saying, but not with an accent. No, he still had his Minnesota accent.
And I find that interesting. Yeah, because you want to keep the Minnesota accent as long as you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fellas over there. I don't know them fellas. They're I think they're
I think it's in the boot.
It's in the boot. That means something completely different in Minnesota.
That's right.
So it's interesting though how some people pick up accents. I was in Texas for a while for work years ago, and moved there probably for 6 months. And one of the dealers I was calling on was a car dealer, not drug dealer. One of the car dealers I was calling on said, I don't understand it. You've been coming here for months now, and you've lived here for months, and yet you haven't picked up the Texas drawl. And I'm going, well, that's not who I am. Now you'd think I was being fake then. He says, no. He said, you'd be amazed. Some people who moved down here for a week and they already are speaking with a drawl like that.
Yeah.
What the heck? Yeah. So you wonder about if suddenly it's Madonna, she's turned into a Londoner just because she has to speak with that better accent. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I think it's a little ridiculous. I do know, having lived here now for 13 years, something like that, I do once in a while slip into a Southern accent, but if I'm thinking about it, I won't.
I haven't.
But sometimes I'll do it on purpose too, because I've gotten really good at it.
I've heard you do that, yeah, where you do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it last
I,
night and had my daughter rolling in stitches because I went super country.
all right. Well, we're waiting.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it when you're not
Do it.
even when I'll do it when no one's expecting it.
Okay. We're not expecting it. I'm looking the other way. Go.
I can't do it on the spot like that. It's like you
Come
asking me
on.
to mimic somebody or do an impression. I can't do it. I can't do it on the
You're
spot.
never going to be able to take this, to like The Voice or anything where you
No.
don't have to sing anything. You just come out and you speak with a Southern drawl.
Do you think not The Voice, but America's Got Talent? Do you think they have a section for podcasting? And if they do or they did, do you think we'd win?
Do you know the phrase "no"? That's well, it doesn't matter if they don't. Then let's say yes, we'd win.
I think so.
Yeah, they don't have a
Has
podcast.
anyone even thought
Of course, we'd win.
to submit a podcast for America's Got Talent?
Yeah, we'd have to do a short one because they'd get tired of us.
Oh well, most of our listeners have.
Hey, but they sleep really well during this
They
podcast.
do sleep really well. That's they say that some people need to listen to a podcast or a book or something like that when they're going to bed. So they'll put their earbuds in and they'll just fall asleep. That's probably why we have so many listeners. They're not really listening, but hey, it does mean we're invading their dreams.
Well, and that's just it. We're giving them that subconscious connection, and they come out one day. They'll just wake up and start speaking with a Southern drawl.
That's right.
We're talking about
So speaking of Southern drawl, one of the most iconic of our age, of my age, Southern drawls or Texas Southern drawl is Matthew McConaughey, right?
Sure.
And one of the most famous lines that he's had in any movie came from Dazed and Confused when he said, "All right, all right, all right."
Yes, and
Did
that's
you
kind
know
of his MO.
it has become his MO? But did you know that was completely by accident? Like that was not meant to be in the movie.
Okay.
The director had actually, I don't know if the director had said action yet, but he had started rolling the cameras and he was talking before action. And Matthew said, "All right, all right, all right." Because he was talking to the director. He wasn't doing a line. And then they just rolled into it. And it was just so cool that they kept it in the movie.
They kept it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen the movie Arthur?
With
No.
Dudley Moore?
Yes. Have you seen it?
It's been a long, long time.
Well, for me too. It's an amazing movie, but they claim that many of his lines he was just ad-libbing, and the whole scene where he's in talking to his potential father-in-law and there's a moose on the wall, that whole scene, from what I understand, was him just winging it. And
Really?
he did some funny stuff. But yeah, he was a very talented comedian, but and keyboard player, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard that, and also quite a drinker.
And well, I certainly his character was. I don't know if he was nearly the drinker his character was. Much like Dean Martin, who was renowned as a big drinker, but he was, as I understand, kind of a light drinker. Actually, he just played up the.
Well, and so the same with what's that comedian?
Foster Brooks.
No. The one, he's more modern. He was on tour with Jeff Foxworthy. He's always got a drink in his hand.
Ron White.
Yeah, Ron White. He's not. I guess he's not as big a drinker as he portrays. That's his.
Well, I don't know how he could be, because it was, but that was all his. It was part of his shtick, He had a cigarette and he had a glass of scotch and off he went.
Yeah,
but
I think to some extent we all kind of do that, because you know me. We talk about drinking on this podcast. We talk about being bartenders and things like that.
We talk about drinking during this podcast.
Exactly, but in general, I really don't drink this that much. I mean, we were in Texas. Everyone knows we were in Texas a few weeks ago, and I have to say, I drank a lot more than I normally do, but I still did not drink that much.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Maybe I used to be like that, but I'm not that way anymore. It makes me feel. I like the taste of it.
It's wonderful to not, because the older you get, the more you pay for it.
Yep. I can get a hangover just thinking about drinking.
Think about drinking white Zinfandel, and you'll have a hangover before you're done saying the word.
Oh, now you
It's
gave me a
nasty.
hangover.
Oh, it's a hangover in a bottle.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Really is. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, speaking of Dudley Moore, you heard the
Yes,
news earlier this week. I think it came out on Wednesday, maybe. Kirk Douglas. Did you hear the news?
I did, that he passed away at 103 years old.
103 years
Yep,
old.
yep.
Incredible. I thought he was dead a long time ago.
Can I just say this, and I don't mean this in a bad way or in a disrespectful way. He had huge ears. Did you
Oh,
see
yeah.
the
Oh,
size
yeah,
of
he did.
his ear? And I guess as we age, that happens, so it's not a big surprise, but his were really big.
Yes. Yes, they
Yeah.
were.
Some African elephants were looking at him going, "Jeez."
Yeah. I wonder, I didn't see any pictures. I wonder if they showed any pictures because his son looks horrible. I can't imagine what he looked like at 103
Really?
years.
I don't think he looks horrible. He's married to Catherine
He
Zeta-Jones.
is, he's starting to look a little bit better because he was in Ant-Man and Ant-Man Returns, and he's starting to look healthier, but it wasn't he got sick. He had cancer.
He did have cancer. Was it throat cancer, I think?
I think so, yeah. So he got, I mean, he went, I thought for a while he was going to be gone,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I guess he bounced back.
He apparently did, but yeah, I think he looks good. He's they showed was it Wednesday or Thursday? They showed a picture, maybe it was on Instagram even, of him with his dad, Michael, and his dad side by side, and of course his dad was much older, but Michael still's got great hair and all of that.
Yeah, hair's overrated.
I wouldn't know. You ever since you've gotten the toupee, I think it's really made a difference in your.
No, I never got a toupee.
You
The
should.
line was
I
you had
you
to pay.
with a toupee or maybe a wig, maybe like
No,
a
no.
80s rocker wig.
You're still mistaken. I didn't get anything from my head. You told me I had to pay for this podcast.
That's what it was. My
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, no hair.
You were waiting for me to say that.
Yeah, no, I was. Did you ever watch on? Were you ever a fan of the Food Network?
I am today. Yes.
Did you watch any of the way back in the 90s, early 2000s, the Alton Brown food? What is it? Oh, crap.
Well, he did like a wild kitchen thing. I can't think what it was called.
No, this was the one where he was doing, it was a lot of science with a lot of the cooking that he was doing.
Well, that was part of this other one too. I can't think what it was called. This is, you know what? If we were younger, we'd know this stuff right off the top.
Absolutely. Well, I watched, so he's rebooting it. So he's going to have a new one coming out soon, but
Cool.
he has done right now to promote it. He is doing a rebooting some of the old ones. So he'll play some of the old ones and he'll stop it. And then he'll talk about what he did wrong in that episode and talk about the truth. So like one we watched a couple nights ago was on pasta. And he's in the original, he said, you got to use a lot of water, like a gallon for a pound of pasta. And he said, so he stopped it and said, that's not true. And then he would go through the science of why it's not true and how you can actually make better pasta. So it was really interesting. But go ahead.
Well, and there are some cool ways to make. Yeah, I've seen some of the awesome ways to make pasta really good. And if you ever watch Chopped,
Good Eats. Good Eats. That's the name of it. Good Eats.
Oh, sure. Okay. Well, Cutthroat Kitchen is the one I was thinking about.
Right.
And that was a fun show. Interesting to say the least. But yeah, that was. I don't think I ever saw Good Eats. That was the science-based stuff, though, and he did some of that, integrated it into Cutthroat Kitchen too.
That's what he's known for.
Well, he's known for several because he was on Iron Chef America, and he was on The Best Thing I Ever Made, or The Best Thing I Ever Ate, or whatever.
And then Road Tripping with Alton Brown.
Road Tripping.
Yeah, he took a motorcycle all over the United States and did a whole show, stopped each episode in a certain place and talked about the food and that roadside attraction or whatever.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I thought that would be right up your alley because it's motorcycling.
Well, but it's all where, all where I started watching Food Network probably at least seriously with Chopped.
Yeah.
So before that, and there are episodes. They've got like 40 seasons of Chopped, whatever that means. I
Yeah.
don't know if they had 2 seasons a year or
I
or
think they
more.
did.
But that place is
Either that
crazy.
or they count all of the other Chopped extensions like Chopped Kids and stuff like that. Kind of
Yeah.
like
Oh,
House
that's a good
Hunters.
one.
House Hunters has a million seasons, but it's only been on for 20 years. I don't know if
That's
it's
true.
20. I made that up.
And that's those. Okay, so many of those. That's when I look at some of these. They're just so overproduced. Some of those shows, especially the HGTV shows, that
Right.
they do so much of the production.
HNGTV.
You what?
HNGTV. That's what my wife calls
HGTV.
it. HNG. It's because it's HGTV, but it's actually Home and Garden Television Network. So
Got
it's
it.
HNG. Yeah.
Got
It's
it.
kind of
Yeah.
like what is people putting S's at the end of words like Kroger's or yeah.
Yes.
What are some of the other ones?
Kroger's.
Kroger's.
There was a fun one in oh gosh, growing up in southern Wisconsin, there was a place called Monroe, which was close to us, the Monroe Cheese Corporation. No surprise, we made cheese in southern Wisconsin. But
Nuh-uh.
some people would, well, where'd you get a job? Well, I'm going to work in the summer at the Cheese Corps.
Cheese
And it's
Corps.
corporation. You don't
Oh,
shorten corporation to CORPS, which is like the Marine Corps. It's not the same. So we teased people who said that they needed some sort of marching music to go with it. Yeah, it was so
that's
stupid.
funny.
Yeah. So
That's
anyway.
funny.
And speaking of pasta, before because
Pasta.
speaking of pasta,
I'm
Scott
ready.
Cohn, if you've ever watched Chopped, he is so picky about pasta. He's like well known for his Italian cuisine. So if you make pasta while he's one of the judges, you better kick its butt. Otherwise, you will be chopped.
I was never a big fan of Chopped. I got to admit.
Well, yeah, we really do like it because it's kind of a challenge. Lisa's a good cook, and so it challenges her, especially. What do you make out of these 4 items in the basket? And for her, she always she's thinking it through and how to repurpose the ingredients. They want you to do that, and so on. For me, it's always the same. I just go, I would make Jell-O out of all 4 of them, and that's it. I probably wouldn't win.
No, me either. Maybe that's why I don't watch it, because I watch it and go, I couldn't do better than that.
We actually did it with a dinner party once, and it was kind of fun, where we had 3 other couples over.
Oh,
And
that would be fun.
yeah, the game was Chopped, so everybody had 4 ingredients they had to make something with. So it was really fun.
Huh.
I would
I like
recommend
that
that.
idea. Maybe that's the next dinner party. So you've got some ingredients with you. Because I just sent you some ingredients.
I do.
Yeah. Let's talk about your ingredients. What are you going to do with these ingredients?
Well, I'm going to make something. I know you may like what I make first, but if I make any more, you'll want some MOA. So,
Oh,
thank you.
you're welcome.
No, we're not going to go into the Thin Mint. Nick was kind enough to send me some out-of-state Girl Scout cookies. And
Be careful. It was not out of state. We did not drive them across borders. Oh wait, that's just liquor, isn't it? You can drive food across the border.
Actually, I'm dipping the Thin Mints in liquor right now.
Nice. Candy's dandy, but liquor's quicker.
Candy's dandy, but sex don't rot your teeth. You can try that if you want to.
Right.
No, so Nick was kind enough to send me. Peyton is selling Girl Scout cookies, and she's my favorite Girl Scout. So I thought it was only right that I would do business with her. And we don't really, since our son is well out of school and all of that, we don't have any kids necessarily in the neighborhood that we would buy from. So yeah,
But you will eventually, because don't you have a granddaughter?
we do, and she's not right in the neighborhood, but yeah, we'll eventually, if she decides to be a Girl Scout or a brownie or
Yeah.
whatever they do these days, we'll
It's not the
obviously buy
same as they
from her.
used to, and I think actually you bought at a good time because the last I heard, Peyton is not gonna be doing it next year, so
You sound like someone who just sold me a car. Hey, no, really, you bought it a good time.
you did, you bought at a good time. Bought at a very good time.
And not only did I get several boxes, 8, I think,
Oh, yeah,
of
this
assorted.
is this is the important part, so
Yeah,
there's a specific person who's listening right now who will be very excited to hear this part. Go, John, go.
I really like the cookies. No, I've got more. I've enjoyed the cookies. 8 boxes of cookies, and then there was more in the box. It was sort of like if you buy Cracker Jack, you always got the prize too, and you go, "Whoa, I got the prize." The prize for me was 2 jars of Craig's famous barbecue sauce, and
Heaven on
I
a pig,
cannot
baby.
wait to taste it.
They are exceptionally good. I've been eating Heaven on a Pig pretty much exclusively for several years now, and I've even been a part of the process to make it. That what you have, Craig, I helped him make.
What?
Yeah, I
Did you
did.
wash your hands?
No, absolutely not. And I used my hands to mix it.
What a shock. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
when I had a cold,
it
remember?
was. Yeah, you remember? I think I called you. I was like, "I'm making your barbecue sauce right now."
All I heard was, "Achoo," and then you had barbecue sauce everywhere.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I
No,
remember.
no,
Well,
but
good,
seriously,
that's a good batch then.
this is a really, really good barbecue sauce. If anyone ever wants any, just DM me and I will set it up with Craig and he'll send you some. He was going to start a business and we did do an online business for a little while, but now he just kind of makes it. We'll call it handcrafted barbecue sauce. He used to use it in his own barbecue restaurant.
Right.
But now he just makes the sauce and sells it to friends. And sometimes every year he does an event for his local Lowe's, and he makes a whole bunch of barbecue and barbecue sauce and sells it there too. So,
Oh,
um,
cool.
like I said, if anyone wants to try some, just hit me up and I'll get you hooked up with Craig.
And if you want to wait until I try it, which will be soon, I'm actually, and I mentioned it to Nick, I'm thinking about getting a pork shoulder and smoking it and then using it with that, and I'm sure it will be absolutely incredible. So, but if you want my actual post barbecue meal review, then stick around for
I'm sure he'll take a lot of pictures and post it on Instagram and Facebook. Right? Right, John?
Eat Drink Road. Eat Drink Road.
Eat Drink Road and Potty Mouths. At
Or Mouth
Potty Mouths
Body.
or Mouths Potty if you look us up on Twitter. But you can also search for us on Facebook at Potty Mouths.
At PoddiMouths, indeed.
Yep. Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
you just go to poddymouths.com and you can see all the links for all those spots.
That's exactly it. And links to some of our sponsors, including Knockaround, Share Sale, Buffy, and Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is the system that we use to not record our podcasts. We use a different system for that, but to actually publish our podcasts to all of your favorite podcast listening apps or areas or RSS feeds or whatever you want to call them. That's how we get all of that stuff out there. That's where we put all of our show notes, which you can find information about Buzzsprout in our show notes. And like John said, head over to our website to get more information about all of this other stuff. I might even, if I can double check, because I did do his website, I might have let it slide. Don't tell him that because we don't use it. But I might actually put a link down there for Heaven on a Pig. I can link to his Facebook page, Heaven on a Pig, because he does still post up to that anytime he makes sauce. So that's a
So
great
search for
connect
Heaven on a Pig on
Mr. Craig
Facebook.
Church. Say that
Yeah.
again.
I said, and just search on Facebook for Heaven on a Pig and you'll find Craig. He is, and if you didn't hear the podcast with him on it, the Potty Mouths episode, check it out because it was pretty awesome. And by
Oh,
the way,
it was great. I was in a store this past week, and someone commented on it, and that was one of their favorite episodes. They said that guy, I think he was your father-in-law or something. The guy with the really thick Southern accent. I love that guy. So they
Greg is awesome, and he's fun and funny too.
Yep.
But that is, and while I'm thinking about it, that's really a good rule of thumb. If you run across somebody that you think would enjoy PoddiMouths, just tell them. Just pick one person and tell them about PoddiMouths. We'd love to have them join us. We'd love to have you and all your friends listening, so you have some PoddiMouths crap to talk about after the episodes are done. But we'd appreciate that very much. And
I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think exactly what John said. If you want to support our show, if you want to help us grow, so we can keep creating content and keep building on some of the topics that we've discussed over the last year and a month. It's been a whole year and a month. Just all you have to do, this is be the biggest support that anyone could ever do for us. Just go and ask one other person to listen if you really enjoy what you're listening to.
Let me tell you the one thing I love about Nick. Nick said, and it's just like a faint FEINT, where he says, I could not have said it better, John, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep. Yep.
So not only did you try,
I didn't really say it better. I just said it. I repeated it. We have to do it one more time for people to remember. Remember?
3 times. 3 times. Wait, is it 3 times makes them remember, or 3 times makes them sick?
Both.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Because if you get sick, then they're going to associate that memory with the sickness, and then they'll remember it every time they get sick.
Or if they're sick, they'll have to stay home from work, and they can listen to other episodes of PoddiMouths.
Hey, my daughter got to stay home twice last week, so why not?
Yeah, well, and we've kept the swearing to a minimum.
Have we? Have we really?
Well, in your mind, it doesn't count.
Oh, well, then I'm just going to have to close it by saying, fuck you, Eric.
Oh, thanks for that. Take care, everybody. See ya.